It's such a warm, pleasant feeling.
Let's start it on that one. We're going to go with that.
Ooh, a warm, pleasant feeling.
Okay, we're going to start the podcast now. So thank you for coming to podcast. I keep forgetting what number it is. 12. Yeah. We're on 12 now. So thank you for coming. This is the Stupid Questions, Stupid Answers podcast where we ask some stupid questions and we give answers. Yes. So to start from our left here, we got
John.
And Kyle.
Andrew.
Michael, the Dragon Cuddler.
Cuddler this time.
Yeah.
You went from Slayer to Cuddler.
Do you spend more time figuring out what you're going to say for your name than your question?
No, I legitimately spent the last 3 seconds coming up with that one.
The Dragon Cuddler.
I was like, as soon as John said his name, I'm like, I got to come up with something. That'll work.
So you went with Scaly over anything else you could possibly think of.
Oh, okay. Things we're learning about Michael.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Michael.
But anyways, this is the podcast where we have a couple questions. Each of us has a stupid question that we're going to ask. In the middle, we have some improv trivia. And then at the end is some audience questions. And this is the first time we're actually doing this kind of live on Discord. So welcome to some of the people that are here live while watching us. Otherwise, John, what was your question?
I know we've touched on this topic a few times during this podcast, but when is cannibalism okay?
When is it?
Yeah, so not killing someone and then eating them, but if you've got a body, when is it okay to nibble? Like what? At what point?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. At what point does that become?
Just to try it. Not like go full force into cannibalism. Like just a little nibble.
Is their family watching?
So that's your barrier if someone's watching?
No, I would say that you're making it sound like nibbling, like there's no dire need for it. You're just like curious.
I'm asking when, because if there's a dire need, that could be one situation where it's okay. Or if you're like doing science and you need to do a taste test.
Or if the pizza's like 30 minutes late,
Yeah.
you're really hungry.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Where's the line?
I think my line has to be somewhere south of like being actually near death. Like my last strength that I have left in my body is meant to crawl over to that guy and take a chomp out of his leg.
Well, you have to there's time to digest. So if you're too close to death.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the gamble. Like that's where I'm willing to go.
Or if there's time where you can get some salt or pepper or something too.
Yeah. Oh no, there's some condiments that probably a little sooner than that.
Yeah, a little spice, little hot pepper, like sriracha.
Yeah.
It's important to have some onions, some garlic, some potatoes you can throw in there.
Yes, we're in a dire situation. We have no food, but
we only have soup fixins, but not the base. We need the base.
All I have is this sauce packet and these carrots and these onions.
Yeah,
we have no food.
All
we have are vegetables.
You can't cook those without some sort of meat. Come on. No. My line. Here's the thing. Survival, yes, if it's your absolute dire necessity, but there are some religious practices which actually
you follow.
I don't personally follow them.
That is what you were going
but
for a second.
I wouldn't do it, but I kind of understand that some people, even the deceased, expect it of their family members to do it, and in those circumstances, I can't really judge them too harshly. Or even at all. So
it depends too on what they're talking about for the consumption of the person. If they're saying like the whole thing, that might be a little weird. I can understand that there's a thing of like a piece of the flesh to I mean, that's kind of like the Jesus thing. So I mean, he turned it into bread, but
they were trying to get to eat each other.
Transubstantiation.
It's because the pagans probably did that a lot. They're like, I'm going to eat that guy. It's like, oh, stop, please. Here, have this bread instead, for God's sakes.
We need to save some for relics.
Stop drinking my blood. Have the wine. And the churches agreed. They're like, okay, we'll stop.
The Druids were very reluctant at first.
I just imagine someone following Jesus with a straw.
He's like, no, he's 10% alcohol by volume. Get him.
See, that's why they show mobs of people with pitchforks chasing them down. They weren't pitchforks; they were forks.
They were taps.
Wait, no. If like the stereotypical thing for like a pitchfork wielding mob to chase is Frankenstein's monster, does that mean that Frankenstein is delicious?
Maybe.
His
he-
cereal's pretty good.
It's one thing if you about eating one person, but he's the combination of multiple.
He's also aged.
He's the most delicious
well
source.
well aged.
yeah,
Dry
so
aged.
He's like a walking soup.
A walking.
He was cooked with
He's
electricity.
a melting pot.
I mean,
Yes,
not
he's
a
a
mixed
melting
salad.
pot.
Yeah, he's a meat salad.
He's a meat salad. Frankenstein is a meat salad. You know, I mean, that's not wrong.
Yeah, you get a little
he's
Caesar
technically
dressing.
a meat salad. I don't know.
A1.
A1 dressing. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God. Okay. Well, that ended on Frankenstein. All right, Kyle.
Yeah, mine is definitely not that interesting. I was gonna say I was thinking about it earlier today about how we always have these freaking phones in our pockets and how we all grew up with 0 phones in our pockets as kids. But today's youth, their TikToks or their Twitters or their whatever the hell it
Twitches.
is.
You going old man
the
on
Twitches. The whole thing about it is that everything is recorded nowadays. But what is that one thing that you did as a kid or like a teenager that you would have definitely recorded on the cell phone, but now all you're relying on is memories?
Oh, I can think of things that I would not have want recorded on
Yeah.
myself.
Or
Yeah.
I was about to say, or things that you would definitely not want to have recorded on a phone, but that maybe would have.
Yeah,
if they
things
had
that
been
you
phones
don't want
around
people
now.
on the internet to know about. Just let us know.
yeah, all the years from 0 through 18. Well, no, and that's actually because of the cancel culture thing. That's a scary thing because when you're a kid, you're stupid, and now you can be 40 and something you did when you're 16 now comes back to bite you. And you're getting it a lot now because it was right at that transition period. But as we start going forward, everybody's already seen it. So
Everybody's already traumatized into not
Well, I
doing
can't
anything.
say I did anything that would get me in trouble for that.
What wouldn't you
So-
What was one of those things that you do wish you could have recorded?
There's so many things on camping trips.
Yeah.
But on those camping trips, even if I had the option, I probably wouldn't have brought the phone just because it's trying to get away from that sort of thing. But there were so many times where it's just,
but what if you need to know how to skin a rabbit? You can Google it.
yeah,
the
but you're
wilderness.
supposed to learn that before
hard
you
way.
go in the wilderness.
You're trying to start a fire and you're like, oh, I don't have any flint or tinder. And you just take
Tinder.
bang your
Tinder. If I had a phone, I'd have Tinder.
If I had any flint, but you just take your phone and you try to angle the light from the phone
Yeah,
at a pile of tinder.
Yeah,
yeah.
might work.
I did a lot of stupid stuff, but most of the stuff that I would have recorded, I actually did record. Like when we went to an abandoned asylum and walked through it, I have the tape of that somewhere. I just don't have the way to play the tape because it's not a VHS. It's one of those little tiny ones. We used to record small little movies, and they were really bad. It was mostly my friend in a cow suit and running around, and they were hilarious. But that's the stuff I would have wanted recorded. But there's plenty of stuff too that I probably would not have wanted to record.
The amount of stuff that's on a VHS tape that should not go on the internet, that
Probably
like
pretty
people are
large.
very, very glad does not exist on the internet right now.
That's why red-letter media is such a darling, because they take all those things that should never be seen again and then just put them on the internet.
I can think of one. I'm trying to think of something that I haven't told you guys before, and I thought of something that I would not want recorded. When I was a kid, one time I had a friend who I didn't want hanging out with another friend because he was mean to me. So I dressed up in costumes. I dressed up as in my Sunday best and pretended to be the manager of the trailer park, and I dressed up as a Ninja Turtle and pretended I was going to beat this guy up. And I dressed up in all these costumes as a kid and then ran over to my friend's house who was playing with this other kid and pretended I was going to beat him up because a Ninja Turtle showed up, or the manager of the trailer park had just shown up and said, "You got to leave." And I can't remember some of the other costumes I did, but it went on for a while. And I'm glad there's nothing recorded, man.
How old are you?
I'm probably 11.
And did you honestly think that they would believe that you were a turtle?
At the time. Yes.
An 11-year-old trailer park manager.
It's a trailer park.
But that was a teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. You weren't
I
a,
hadn't-
that was
I
a
had a
preteen
teenage, yeah.
But my
preteen
costume-
Ninja Turtle.
My costume, which also doubled up as a pair of pajamas, was very convincing.
That did get me thinking. There was one I would have liked to seen recorded. It was a friend who, and I don't know if I brought this story before. It was on Halloween when he thought he would scare kids that came over by hiding in the recycle bin at the top of the driveway. And when they would come by, he would jump out with the candy. But kids are butts. And so when some older kids realized he was doing that, they just went and basically cow tipped him while he was in there and dropped him over. And then he's falling out of his freaking recycle bin, so he can't really like chase him down or anything. But then he goes and gets in it again. And so I just want to have this videotape of like these kids just running up there like they do that, like the first camera like running up there and they knock him over, and then just him swearing as he's falling over. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Did they do it more than once? Because I can just imagine them throwing him out, him swearing at them, getting back in,
And then come back.
and then coming back up.
I think he stayed at the bottom of the driveway, and then they did it so he put it to the top to like dissuade them because they're on private property. Like that stops kids.
No, that's just a longer ride.
It was on a hill, a little bit of one. No, that's the only one I can think of.
No, I can think of lots, but you guys have heard most of my stories all the time.
Oh, I forgot to do that for your previous story.
The same friend, we dug up his yard. We learned that clay could make pottery. So we started digging up his yard.
Wait, I almost feel like the fact that when you learned that was a story in itself.
Yeah, no, we learned like clay can make pottery.
It's on
So we
Ghost.
went over to my friend's house and we found all these like clay deposits all in their front yard. And we
Started digging
totally
holes.
destroyed the yard.
I'm sure his dad.
And then we showed up like, look, we made you pottery. And she sees all the holes in the yard.
Was it rough? You didn't even bake it, I bet.
No, we
No.
tried it in the sun.
In the sun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not as bad as it could be, but
Yeah, like
just walk up with a bun.
we were very proud of ourselves. We were thrilled.
You almost made one functional brick.
I still remember.
They could rebuild their house.
I still remember as a child just digging a hole in the yard, just in the middle of the yard, and then just filling it with water because that was the swimming pool for a day.
That must have been a muddy swimming pool.
It was.
How deep did you get?
I mean, I was like 6, so I mean, I'm probably like 2 feet deep.
That was a big hole.
Yeah.
Like you're a determined little kid.
I wanted a swimming pool. I wanted to go swimming.
If
and
I
I made
wanted
a
to-
swimming pool.
You could have drowned one of your friends.
Yes.
You can
It
get
was
the
not a very.
little,
It was not a very large.
why'd you get the little plastic ones? Get the little plastic ones.
Yeah, the kiddie pool.
Normal
Kiddie pool?
children.
No, I had one of those.
But you wanted an in, you wanted an
Yeah, I wanted an
in-ground,
in-ground
not an
pool.
above.
But why don't you just put that in the ground?
No, that was too big. That was too wide of a hole. I just literally dug a pit that was just about me size in the ground, about 2 feet deep.
I want to see the ground like slowly give way and collapse and you just get stuck.
No,
It's just my
Kyle-
head poking at the top.
Kyle finds a sinkhole. Just I did really good. Now I just need to fill it with water, and I've got a pool.
That if there was ever a movie that Kyle made, that would be the movie I'd want to watch. Kyle
dug a
finds a
hole.
sinkhole.
Finds a sinkhole.
I can think of one of the stupidest moments of me being a kid. Not particularly interesting.
There you go.
But just a friend of mine at the time convincing me he knew how to make a bomb. And he put some salt rocks around a fuse, and we both stared at it for like 2 hours. Waiting for it to explode.
Now, I had friends.
We were dumb.
I had friends who thought they knew how to make bombs, so they started filing off the rust from underneath cars to make thermite. And it had a little pop.
Yeah, that does work. Yeah, And it's not a bomb, but
It's not, but you don't want it in your hand when it goes off.
no, it would burn. quite
No,
badly.
but that's how kids learn the lesson. When they lose
They
limbs.
get a hole through their hand.
Yeah, well, Kyle made holes. They can make holes too.
Yeah.
Okay.
The same thing. Anyways, so my question I had was, remember the old notion that the body has 5 senses? It's been pretty much proven that is not the case, that we have a lot more senses than that. But if we were to say that those are your 5 senses, and you had to get rid of one of them, what sense would you be willing to give up? So that's your sight, smell, taste, touch, and
Hearing.
hearing. Yes. It's a tough one.
Is it though? I feel like it's not.
What would you do?
Well, you know what? I want to get rid of feeling just so that I could like throw myself off of stuff and just bounce and giggle.
You would feel no pain.
I feel no pain. I have broken bones. I might be dead by the end of the day, but I'm not
I
gonna
am
smile on my
Play-Doh
face.
man.
But
And
there
then
are-
you just go to the hospital.
there are-
Like, you should have come here hours ago. What are you doing?
I'll be dead by the end of the day, but I'll have a good
Yeah,
time.
my eyes stopped working, and I don't know why. Can you fix it? Your eyes aren't there anymore, sir.
Oh my god.
Well,
that
technically,
would be terrifying.
pain and feel and touch are technically different, but I guess because we're looking at just the 5, they would be combined in this sense. But there are people that have no pain and they live horrible lives.
Oh yeah, it'd be awful.
But that's what you want.
Yeah, well, I'm dead by the end of the day.
I love he's trying to take advantage of the lack of a sense.
I feel like, well, I mean, you would just have to be very, very
good old
careful. But I feel like if today, like you didn't grow up with it, if today you lost your feeling of touch, you'd probably be able to navigate your way around, or any pain or any touch or anything. You'd probably be able to navigate your way around and not like maim yourself on a daily basis. But you'd definitely be getting lots of cuts and stuff because you don't know how hard you're grasping things.
Well, it's not actually. There's more than that comes with that. So, one of the other senses that would probably be grouped with this one is
Anesthesia?
the know where your limb is.
Yeah, I know where my tongue is.
Yeah,
My teeth should not close right now because
Yes.
my tongue is in the way.
but if you can't feel, you're going to not. If you closed your eyes, you would not know where your hand is.
yeah.
It's because
That is true, yeah.
There's multiple senses that are included to figure that out, but without touch, you're losing one of them, and you might adapt to it. But if you're just sitting there and suddenly you're like, "Who punched me?" Well, you probably wouldn't even know that. You'd just be sitting there and you're like,
Why am I tasting blood?
Yeah, yeah, you got
yeah,
taste.
you got
still.
taste still. Yeah. Why is there blood?
Yeah, because if I were to do it, I would do hearing.
Not smell, because smell seems like the obvious.
No,
one.
I would do taste, but you go first.
I was thinking taste, but smell and taste are so interlinked that if you were to get rid of smell, you would also be getting rid of part of your taste.
Yeah,
Most of your
I'm a
But you
big-
would
I'm a
rather
big foodie.
never hear anything than again.
Because the things that
And
I
then-
enjoy,
yeah.
I can watch a movie with the subtitles, and I'm fine. I can
Never hear music again.
because if you're going to, but would I have that or the inability to touch somebody and feel it or to interact with the world in that way? To me, I could go without hearing, and because of my vertigo thing, it might help.
I think I would probably also go with hearing, but we all have to admit though, like
It
but
sucks.
like yes, but sight, you got to keep that.
Yes.
because like if we can't play video games, then we might as well just go and try to feel
You
around.
can't
the,
read.
If you're
Yeah,
a musician,
dark.
though,
can't drive.
if you're a musician, maybe that would be one you would be willing to give up, but hearing you wouldn't want to. So there is a little bit to every person. Or maybe you live with somebody that's really smelly and you just,
It would be nice to get rid of. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, Michael. So but like maybe it's like scent or something. So I can see different people having different,
I would get rid of taste because scent actually is protecting you. Like if you can't smell smoke, you're
Yeah.
gonna have a problem.
you can see smoke.
Not at night.
If you're in a dark room, but it's also on
you'll
fire.
definitely feel the fire though.
Somehow this is a dark fire.
If there's a gas leak, taste isn't gonna save you.
Yeah.
yeah.
The only thing taste can save you from is food poisoning, and you can probably smell that.
I love that. Like, what saved your life? My sense of taste.
Yes, I
saving-
licked my way to safety.
Amazing.
No, I had that flavored wallpaper. I knew if I followed the cherry, I'd find my way to the exit.
Yeah, Lincolnberry.
That sounds
like
like
that.
you could do that. You could set that up. Just have flavor strips around the wall.
Yeah.
Like some people use echolocation, and you just use taste.
Follow this Nosberries to safety.
So what flavor?
The
What
Snosberry
flavor?
line of the floor.
What would be the flavor of an emergency exit?
Well, it would have to be something sort of mint.
Mint?
I can say mint.
I would say mint, yeah, because it'd be the longest lasting.
I'd
at
say
least.
black licorice because then you're only licking it if it's an actual emergency.
But at some, at some
like
point,
this-
you think, yeah, death. I don't care that there's a fire.
I don't want to lick this
no.
anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But there's all those other addicts licking the cherry wall.
Yeah, okay. Somebody's it's what's that one that tastes like soap for some people?
Cilantro.
Celery.
Yeah,
cilantro.
So it's
Celery.
safety is cilantro and danger is soap. You weed them out.
You have to want to live.
All right. So, Mike, yeah, we covered everybody here. So, Michael, what was your question?
All right, you guys all familiar with the movie Cars?
Yeah.
And the sequels.
And well, you don't have to know the sequels, but is the movie Cars the aftermath of a horrible Terminator-like apocalypse?
Oh, this is just using that Disney extended
been-
universe thing.
No.
isn't it?
Is it?
Yes, there's like a whole thing about whether or not all the Disney or not, the Pixar films, all the Pixar films are all somehow interrelated.
I was not aware of this.
Yeah, like Wall-E, the world of Wall-E and Cars
Yeah.
is the
Well,
same.
the thing I thought about Cars is that they're cars, right? They're all built to have passengers, but where are the passengers?
Well, there's also all the infrastructure is built for people.
Yeah.
And you know that I think film theory did a video about is that a post-apocalyptic world.
Where the cars basically were Terminators and they killed all
Well,
the people.
maybe not that. I didn't think they go
maybe
the
not
dark.
that.
Because that's was what I was thinking. It's like it's essentially Terminator, but cars, like from that Stephen King film where the vehicles come to life and they start
Carrie?
like
Carrie.
Or not Carrie.
Not Carrie.
Christine.
Tesla's AI takes
I think
over.
it is Christine. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But
definitely
where,
not
like the
Cujo.
trucks, where, like the trucks and stuff come to life. But in this
Oh,
universe,
the truck one.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the car one. No,
that
you're right.
was
There
the-
is one with the there is
that
one
was
with the
the
truck.
Steven
though.
Spielberg movie. Like his first movie was
okay.
the truck.
Was the truck one? Oh,
okay. Well, where they come to life and they're,
They're
like
very
circling the
similar.
gas station and they want the people to fill up their gas tanks because they can't do it themselves.
yes. Oh, what?
I can't remember
what
the
is
name of that one.
movie?
It was a Stephen King film, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken.
I don't think so. I think it's
never
very,
heard of
very
this.
similar though to something Stephen King would write.
I feel like it was the only one he ever directed. I think I remember that being the case. But I can't remember the name of it for the life of me.
Yeah. Well, I would say no, and only for aesthetic reasons. Because if cars become sentient and start killing people, after everyone's dead, they're not going to start becoming cutesy.
But they have rear view mirrors for nobody.
yeah, I think
No,
like-
that's to hang the fuzzy dice.
You know when your mom says I have eyes in the back of my head?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's what
there
it
you go.
is.
It's evolution in progress.
What's the doors for?
Smacking things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's their hands.
It's hands.
or
Their
something.
hands. I feel like the cars murdered everyone, and like that is just like the Terminators took over, but they're also adorable cars.
I just feel like maybe there was a design developer or something who was just not even thinking about what you're talking about right now.
they
It
were
was like
thinking
we're making a nice movie, and then there's just some weirdo on the internet going like, dude, yeah, apocalypse.
The apocalypse.
Michael is just making me think of like kawaii anime Terminator. Just like a
Yeah.
chibi T9000, just crushing little chibi skulls.
Ooh, John Connor.
Oh boy.
instead of the Terminator just bursting down the door and then starting to gun down women and children, you just hear you're at the door and you hear a beep beep from behind the door because they can't get in. It's too big.
The Terminator and like the other guy are just they spend 3 episodes just screaming at each other as they increase their power levels.
Yes. Yeah.
So would you rather be killed by a little chibi T9000 or one of the cars from Cars? Or like the Larry the Cable Guy truck?
I would rather be killed by the chibi Terminator because I'm imagining the car just locking you inside of a garage and just leaving the engine running and you can't escape. It's like, this is only going to kill one of us. No. It's horrible. I've thought this through.
I know my
apparently,
problem
yeah.
with that is I just don't want to be killed by Larry the Cable Guy
That's fair.
That would be embarrassing, to be honest.
because that would be on my tombstone. It would be so embarrassing.
Larry the Cable Guy got this one.
As an old beat up truck killed me.
Yep.
Cause of death, Larry.
He would do a comedy skit about it.
Just
That'd
look
be even more embarrassing.
look close. He's got a bunch of like tallies on the side of his fender or something. It's like, what's that for? It's for all the people I murdered
There's
in the Great Uprising.
There's a specific row just meant for there's a little cardio wheelchair in the side of the truck. There's a bunch of tallies next to that
I
one.
wonder,
too.
like, if like their programming has it so that they would auto kill any human, so everything's all pleasant. But as soon as any human popped up, they would all like eye turn red with laser beams, and then immediately go back to normal as the blood is sprayed across the road.
It's like the self-driving
sure they're
cars,
dead.
except something went horribly wrong.
Yeah, this is Tesla.
That's what it's all leading to. That's what
all
self-driving cars are. It's the beginning. Self-driving cars is Skynet.
It's just like they're right in the middle of a race, and then like a hatch opens, and like a really like emaciated human being crawls out. They're like, "Is it safe now?" And then all of a sudden, Lightning McQueen has laser eyes.
So now I'm just imagining, you know how dog racing has the little rabbit going around? In that world, you just have a
It's a
stuffed
human.
human just flopping the arms, the legs, it flies around the ring, and everyone's chasing it, trying to gut or run it over.
Oh no!
I like that one actually. That's a good.
Cars is a horrifying film.
Trying to kill Elmo.
It's a movie for kids, and we keep making it darker and darker. It killed Elmo.
No, Elmo killed you.
Yeah, a human. Or no, it wouldn't be Elmo because he's a monster. It would be like Ernie.
Yeah.
No, Bert.
Or the chimera that would be
saying
the
Ernie's-
fusion of them both.
Are you saying Ernie's not a human? What is Ernie then?
I'd say that they're both human, but if I was gonna have something to have a pack of cars drive over and try to kill, it would be Bert.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a
Save
fair. That's
Ernie,
fair.
kill Bird.
Rubber ducky.
No, okay. So that's the end of the questions section. So the next part we have here is the improv trivia. It's where I ask fake questions that do not have a real answer, and it is their goal to provide us a truth, a fake truth, and then provide evidence of that fake truth. They have,
I do want to point out that you switched to this right after the trivia where we gave you negative points for asking bad questions.
yep.
That is true, actually. We pointed out your own idiocy,
Yeah,
and you're
I-
like, "Well, what's the game?"
I do want to go back to normal trivia every now and then, but it takes a lot longer to set
Yeah.
that up. So,
that makes sense.
but these questions they have not received ahead of time, so they are only hearing them at this point. So, I thought there was still like beer in the glass and you were pouring wine. Okay,
The loudest pour of our life.
Trying to keep it quiet.
he's not holding the cup. Anyways, so John, your question, when Michael's done, okay, is a time traveler from the future showed up in 1986 to warn us of what future event?
Well, he actually showed up during Stephen Hawking's time travel convention.
Oh, yeah, I
he
know
was
that
the
one.
only person to show up there, but he asked Stephen to kind of keep it quiet. So Stephen had to like go on the media and say, "Yeah, it doesn't exist because no one showed up." Go away, Steve. No one showed up. Yeah, his name was Steve. But the thing that he was actually warning us was about Skynet. He actually had like the description of what was going to happen, and James Cameron stole that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He stole his movie idea from real history, and because of that, we then knew that was going to happen.
Yeah,
and
they
we
jumped up the time frame a little bit and switched the country to the U.S. instead of China. But yeah,
It's sad though, because the only thing the time traveler didn't know is that ever since 1995, Stephen Hawking's chair has been completely controlled by its computer, and he's just been carted around by it. So it was already taken over. by
that's
No,
a
the
separate
bathroom.
thing. It's
Take
not
me
connected to
the
Skynet
bathroom.
yet. It's only connected to Hawking.
Oh, it is Hawking.
Yes. Well, it is Hawking.
And now it is.
chairnet.
Slowly,
It's doing
slowly took him over.
It's doing a weekend at Bernie's. Like Hawking hasn't been alive for
decades.
since '86. Like '86 is when the time traveler showed up, brought a little bit of that code, put it into the chair. Hawking died, and his chair lives on.
He came,
Yeah.
came back to warn us, and in doing so, also brought it back to make it happen earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, and James Cameron stole that
on
plot.
time.
Oh, on time.
He
Okay,
brought it
yeah.
back on
Cameron
time.
stole the plot.
Well, that's why he was buried, welded to his chair.
Like I like the idea that Stephen.
No. yes, he was.
Maybe.
Hey, I'm the arbiter of truth for this question, Kyle.
I do like the idea that Stephen Hawking's just been wanting to watch like reruns of Gilligan's Island since like he was in that chair, but his chair's taken over. And it's the one like
I'm tired of science.
We're
He's
going to
not
watch the
doing it.
Discovery Channel again.
No, it's not doing any science, or he's not doing any science.
it's
It's
just
been
the chair.
it was
It's
a
been this
chair.
all the chair.
I just want to watch Nick at Night. No, it's Nat Geo.
We're gonna write something about black holes and put your name on it. Chair, please no.
I just want ice cream.
Yes.
Okay. So I like you actually took that and you mixed in real truth. That actual time travelers convention actually happened.
They did, yeah.
They didn't announce it was going to happen until after it happened because that was to prove that nobody showed up. Yeah. So, but I think that was in the 90s. Or was
No, it was
No, it was really recent.
It was like only a few years before he passed.
Yeah, it happened to whenever the question said.
Yeah,
That's when it happened.
Yeah,
Yep.
of course.
Yep.
1986.
You're the
Exactly when it
expert.
happened.
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle, I got your question here. Elton John spent nearly a decade dabbling in EDM under what name?
Starry McGee.
Mickey.
So
What kind of sunglasses did he wear for that?
well, he definitely didn't wear star sunglasses. That's far too on the nose
Yeah,
to be real. Well, if Elton John was back in, or if he was back in those days, doing a lot of like experimental music. He technically came up with the rap genre before it even was remotely
oh,
a thing.
All right.
So I mean,
Sir Elton John.
Sir Elton John doing some dank raps.
Yeah, well, you got Sir Mix-a-Lot and you got
Yeah,
Sir
Sir
Elton.
Elton John. So if you ever thought of Elton John being in something other than really weird tight leather like outfits and with sunglasses on, like he was basically on the underground scene with the trench coat for like.
I'm just
for
imagining
years.
Tiny Dancer with Elton John behind the wheel of a Cadillac with just bitches on the hood.
Oh, and he also did play the piano. He played the drums. Because
They're similar, just louder.
yeah, you know, like one of those like really old electric drums where they have just like the big bounce pad. Yeah, he was a pioneer.
Yeah, I'm thinking like was it like Dragon Force or something with like, you know, when they go super fast and like Elton John's just back there just like
Hammering away.
hammering away. Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Every
watch
now and then
that.
he's got to go and like bang on a keyboard every now and then, but
Oh, the keyboard is a percussion.
That was his side job. His side job was his normal music that we know.
oh, okay. So Michael, I have your question. Ready? All right.
Yeah.
A new children's game has grown in popularity in Montana that is similar to Duck Duck Goose. It is called Duck Duck what?
In Montana,
Yes.
Duck Duck Funny Bird Monster.
Funny bird yeah, that's
Yeah, it's not a duck. It's some sort of like, it looks like a duck. It sounds like a duck, but they don't know what it is.
what color is it?
It's a duck.
It's potentially gray-ish. Okay. They're not sure what it is. They've heard rumors of this strange beast from other lands, but they're not clear on the word, so they just call it whatever they think they should call it. So they're confused.
This mystery creature from
yeah.
another place these children
Yeah.
are playing around with?
Yeah, they're playing. They grab the creature. Is the first part of the game.
They grab it.
You can't play Duck Duck Crazy Bird Monster without the Crazy Bird Monster.
I'm especially killing from the Children of the Corn, but they're out in the fields capturing these
Yeah,
winged monsters.
They're just
No,
humming and
like-
singing as they're screaming.
it's just going. It's going, making all these like quack, quack, quack noises. But then they take the monster and they just kind of like tap their friends with it, and they just say "Crazy Bird Monster, Crazy Bird Monster, Crazy Bird Monster," and then they hit one child with it. And then knock them out, and then
The
that
child picks up the duck.
well, they have the bird monster, and they hit a child with it and knocks them unconscious.
Is the bird monster alive?
Yeah, it is until they hit the child with it, and then the child's unconscious and the bird monster's dead, and then they eat it.
The child?
No,
The child of the bird monster.
Bird monster.
Oh, okay.
The child who got knocked unconscious doesn't get any, so he loses.
Oh, okay, I see.
He's unconscious.
Yes, he
So
loses the plate.
and they just eat this. They eat the monster raw
Yeah.
because you don't need to cook monsters, right?
I mean, they marinated. They're not monsters.
And the child.
Children aren't monsters.
I mean, these are Montana folk, so they know how to cook a crazy bird monster.
They're mountain people. They know what to
They
do.
keep being told it's a goose, but no, the crazy bird monster.
Yeah, their parents are wrong.
Yeah, some weirdos said it was some sort of gray duck, but that's nonsense too.
I love how you say there's nothing wrong with the children, but they're the ones running through a field, beating up some unknown creature and their own friends for their entertainment and apparently lunch.
And they,
Yes.
It's a day event.
I mean,
yeah,
it's-
they're just
it's-
murdering
yeah.
small animals.
Basically like
so
Christmas.
they're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so was that just made up, or was that just like Edward says, a true story from Kentucky?
No, this is Montana.
Every story involves a small amount of truth.
Well, what? There was a lot of not
How is
truth in
any
there.
of that true? You hit dead
all
birds
true.
and other
It's all
children
true.
down in
Yes.
Kentucky? You're like, what?
I never personally hit anybody with a dead bird or living bird.
Wait, thank you for clarifying.
Okay, that makes
Yes,
sense. So.
bird. It's a bird that he didn't hit anyone with.
Yes. I can't. I mean, frogs are fun to throw when you're a kid.
Well, that's not going to knock somebody out unless it's a
Yeah.
big frog.
It could be a big
Maybe a big
bullfrog.
frog, yeah.
A turtle would knock someone out.
Oh, yes,
Turtle
it
would
would.
certainly knock
Yes.
someone
and,
out.
and it would be easy enough to pick one up.
It would. And they're saucer shaped, so you could give them a good.
That would leave
yeah.
a scar. You
That
hit
would.
the edge of the shell.
Can you skip a turtle on water?
Yes, you can.
Why do you know this? Leave the turtles alone,
you do?
guys.
I think
turtle.
it depends on the turtle. A box turtle, probably snapper. That's too rough, and you'd lose fingers.
You would
No,
not.
it's one of the painted turtles.
Kyle, you were way
thin.
too big on that. You did this.
Wow.
I mean, he needed to go back to where he belonged.
And you wanted to put him to the middle of it.
Kyle doesn't marinate his crazy bird monsters because he is.
A crazy bird.
That's why you don't eat turtles. They don't marinate well.
No, I would think so. But they
Make
can
a good soup.
Yeah, you can cook them within themselves.
Basically a handmade sandwich.
On the
You
half,
gonna eat the shell?
no, the half shell. You
They're,
split it down. the
they're
middle.
soft shell turtles,
Yeah.
Michael.
Turtle
Delicious.
power. All right. Well, John, I have your question for your second question here. The top 3 causes of death in the United States are from heart disease, cancer, and what else?
Refrigerators.
Refrigerators.
Yeah. Well, it's a variety of causes. One, the most obvious is when it just falls on you. I mean, you've seen Throw Mama from the Train. That it didn't kill her in that one, but she was severely wounded.
Yeah,
That was a survival story of a victory of a woman versus a refrigerator. But
Yeah, they've been movies about that.
yeah, not everyone is so lucky. But that's only one way that a refrigerator can get you.
So John just
Took
took the rest of the beer from Kyle. And how much was there in there?
There's a cap.
There's nothing in there.
There's a cap on this bottle.
Oh,
Pouring it with the cap on
I thought it
does
was
not
empty.
work. But yeah,
Okay.
frustration can also kill someone. Yeah, you put
Or murder.
yes, you put a lock in a refrigerator. They have refrigerators with locks, and people can just be beating on that until they die of either starvation or exhaustion, and start yanking on the door. And again, it falls on them, kills them. Yeah, refrigerators are they're almost as they are more deadly than vending machines.
Oh, wow. Actually, vending
I
machines
can
are up
actually
there.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people love to wrestle.
But they wrestle
vending machines.
they wrestle vending machines, but I mean, I don't know of many fridges these days that have locks on them, but I mean, there are, places that just probably go old fashioned with it.
We were talking about drowning in 6 inches of water earlier today.
No,
and-
2 feet. You made a puddle so that you could kill your friends.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. Yes, but I mean, you can drown in 6 inches of water. I mean, but if you were to die by having a floor freezer falling on top of you, you've made strides.
Vending machines, though, are the ultimate criminals. Because if
They
somebody,
really do. It's
because
highway robbery.
if a person steals money from you and you punch them, you're justified. But if a vending machine does it and you punch the vending machine, you get in trouble. Something's wrong.
No, that's still assault, Michael.
They,
you can't-
they
yeah.
robbed me though.
Yeah, but theft doesn't equal physical assault. I mean, it could.
I mean, don't kill them, but get your stuff back. Okay.
I think that's fair, I suppose.
I think if you were standing in front of a police station and a guy took $2 from you and you punched him in the face, you'd be the person the cop was arresting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they only can prove what they see, and
stole my quarters.
they see their aggressor.
Yeah.
There's no way to prove the other one.
Well, the $2 are in his pocket.
Well, that's
Yeah, but whose $2? Where did they come from? How do you prove that you originally had them?
Well, that's why I sign all of my money.
I replaced the picture.
Every single quarter I get, I have a pair of metal stamps to put my initials on.
He's got a sticker with his face on it, and he like stamps it on the coin. This is John's coin.
No, that's all of the bills.
Turns.
They just have mustaches on them.
Yeah. Oh, that's you doing that then? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, if you are dying of exhaustion trying to open your fridge, go to the grocery store.
But
Rows
the
of
food's
refrigerators.
right
Yeah, there's
there.
so many. Yeah, you go to the grocery store. They don't just have a standing refrigerator. They have a wall refrigerator.
Explains all the bodies in the freezer section.
They've been there for days.
They're still fresh.
Yeah, and they're only $6.99 a pound.
I feel like that's another Stephen King thing where it's just like he's run out of things to write about. He's already written about the desk lamp, so let's write about the Target aisle freezers sucking up people when nobody's looking.
So at what point can the grocery stores start selling the meat that they find?
This goes back to the.
Well, I mean, if
like
the
cannibalism.
if the FDA approves it, then they can sell it.
Well, like if a chicken walks into a Target and someone kicks it and it dies, could they then just roast it and sell it?
Well, from a Target, no, but a Cub, definitely.
Okay.
Well,
Cub has a butcher.
Okay, so
Target doesn't have a butcher.
Cub Foods is a local grocery store up here. Not everybody has one.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I
It's the
suppose,
equivalent of
they
like-
aren't as ubiquitous as, yeah.
where it's in the Midwest, it's kind of the equivalent of like Kroger's or
It's
pub,
A grocery
Publix.
store with a
Nowhere
butcher.
close
Pickwick.
to being a Kroger's.
No, I don't know why.
Piggly Wiggly?
Yeah, Piggly Wiggly is another one. No, another thing I was thinking of. I don't know why I thought of it, but I kind of want to see like a remake of Narnia, but to enter Narnia, it's like you go to the public grocery store and you have to go behind the pork, and they just like the kid just squeezes back there and he's like, oh, I'm in Narnia.
Narnia.
There's just a guy back there with a milk, like one of the big like rolling milk, like trolleys, and he's just like, "Hey kid, what's up?
Yes.
I'm going to the dairy
Would you
aisle."
like some Turkish delight?
Are you Thomas, the goat man? It's like just some heavy set.
No, where are those?
hairy dude?
Where are the beavers? I want to find the beavers.
Yeah.
like
He spends a while back there and then eventually just dies of a coli.
Yes. So much raw pork.
He got hungry. And it's only Cub Foods, the quality.
It's awful.
All right. So, Kyle, I got your next question here. There we are.
Yeah.
So, Finland has a popular treat that combines chocolate, salted caramel, and what other ingredient?
Keep in
Fish. Well, obviously, it's Finland. They
fish.
Don't, they don't know how to make
Chocolate.
anything there.
Chocolate, caramel, and fish.
Oh no! Well, I mean, it's fish, but so the whole process is really convoluted.
It's
So
Finland.
first,
It's gonna be crap.
First, you take.
John's all being abusive.
He doesn't like the Finns. I don't like the Dutch. It's different.
No reason.
No reasons except for pop culture reasons, which is this is the correct way to be discriminatory.
Yeah, there's no correct way, but okay.
But so the whole process is, like I said, very convoluted. You first take the fish and then you put it into a sauna.
A sauna.
Yes.
Like a person's
Not a steamer. A sauna.
Yes.
Does it get a towel?
No, Finland
Yes.
invented the sauna. So yeah, this
Yes,
fits with
it's-
their culture.
Well, I mean,
Well, do they use it for cooking?
Apparently.
yes, they do. Excuse you. Of course they do. So like you got to be careful because when you're saunaing your fish, you need to make sure to pour the water around the fish instead of on it, because then you just get weird fish steam coming into your uncle's
What?
backroom sauna.
Unmentionables.
Yeah, it's an awful smell. But once you do that,
Your uncle?
Yes.
So is the water dripping onto your uncle from the fish? Like, is he below the fish?
Wait, is the uncle providing the steam?
You said, like, if you pour the water on the fish, and then the fish water got onto your uncle, is your uncle just like laying on the floor?
It's a sauna. He's in there.
You've got the hot rocks.
He's inspecting the quality of the fish.
Okay, it's fair.
But once you got that done, I mean, then all you have to do is make sure that the fish is still edible, and then just coat it in salt and then cover it in chocolate.
I wouldn't think you would need to add salt from all the uncle sweat, but
It is a salt. I mean, it could be whatever salt comes from. Yeah.
yeah.
I want to see like the wrapper for this, and it's a fish in like a towel in the sauna.
Started in 1885.
So Kyle, what is the name of this in Finnish?
In Finnish?
Yes.
He's the star.
Loops for graven.
Okay.
Loops for graven chocolates.
Loops for graven.
I feel like we're gonna get a legitimate comment sometime in the future that's like, actually, we do have chocolate covered fish in Finland. It's delicious.
It's not called loops for graven. I don't know what Kyle is talking.
And it's not my
That's not
uncle.
even Finnish. That's Dutch.
And we always use our grandfathers, not our uncles.
But the sauna's been in our family for generations.
Yes.
Many a fish have been made in that sauna.
And a towel for every fish.
Oh, all right. Let's go. Okay, so Michael,
Close fish.
we have your
more
question. So, while it is well known that a woodchuck can indeed chuck wood, they also excel at what other skill?
Baking.
Baking.
Yes.
Apple crisp?
See, woodchucks are renowned bakers. They cook everything from like wood cakes to wood
cakes.
candies.
cakes.
Yeah, everything's made
Confections,
from
yeah.
wood.
Maple?
Like
or pine?
Like they are.
Depends on the flavor you
They're
want.
connoisseurs of the wood. They'll like take a block of wood and they'll put it in the oven, right? And they'll pull it out and it'll still be a block of wood, but then they'll eat it and they think it's delicious and they serve it to other people who they expect to eat it, and they do, because if they don't, the woodchucks will murder them.
So this is like a Stockholm version of baking?
It's
or-
just you either eat the wood cake that is just a block of wood that the woodchucks have made for you, or they swarm.
or you die.
Yeah, there's like a swarm of woodchucks. So that's why they're world renowned. Everyone eats their cakes, wood
Oh,
cakes.
yeah.
Because if you don't,
They'll find you.
nations will fall.
Yeah. From the gutters and from the streams, they will come.
Yeah. So everyone knows woodchucks for their amazing baking abilities.
Okay.
So can you give us one of these recipes?
Okay. First recipe is you take a chunk of wood. You
Chunk? Like, is it redwood? Is it
Maple,
They like a good,
applewood,
nice cherry
hickory.
wood.
Cherry wood.
A nice
Good,
cherry
yeah.
wood,
Cherry wood.
and you cover it in leaves. All right.
okay? Leaves
That
of
is
the
a
cherry
garnish.
wood?
It's
Cher-
a, it's
cherry
nice,
leaves?
It's like the not the cherries.
Tea
Throw those away.
leaves or like a bay
Throw the-
leaves.
Maybe mint.
Don't-
Maybe mint.
Mint.
Yeah.
Mint.
Don't use them for other
No,
things.
banana leaves.
No, we're not steaming the wood.
Who knows?
Maybe a banana slug. This guy, he was in the wood already. He left him in there. It's fine, but you cook that for about 5 days.
Turn him into a fire slug.
Yeah. And you serve it up to a world leader who has a lot to lose.
Slow cooked wood, 5 days over.
Yeah.
We slaved over this meal for you.
Yeah.
Lithuania
So-
president.
Charcoal.
It's good. It's good for the digestion. The woodchucks say.
Oh.
At least you
Yeah.
can chew it.
Yeah, it gets rid of
Woodchucks can chuck a
radiation.
lot of wood. Everyone else has to as well.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be checking something.
Yes.
That does not sound tasty.
I'll be happy you're not a world leader. You have to worry about that kind of thing.
Well, I know plenty.
Yes.
I will, but I think if you sent them a bunch of black powder in an envelope, that they would probably not open it.
It's the white powder you have to worry about. Black powder is just a message from the woodchucks.
Yes.
All
Eat this. We're coming for you.
right. So that ends the improv trivia portion. So then for the next part, I have some audience questions. So anybody that has been a Twitch sub or a patron or is a Discord supporter for the server boosting, they can have access to a chat to provide some questions. And I did get some questions, and there's actually some pretty interesting ones. So I've grabbed the ones that I thought would be the most interesting. I'll start with those. So the first one I have here is from Blur de Blah, and he says, "How long does it take before you have to clean something?"
Depends what it is.
So he was giving an example like a
Yeah.
PC, but it could say like anything. Is there a certain threshold where you're like, yeah, I got to do something about this? Well, to me, it's like if it's about large objects, it's when I'm no longer able to use the surface for what it was intended to, or if I just have time on my hands. But otherwise, like dust, it's only when it starts getting grimy or like that kind of like where it's just But
Yeah, like the top of a cabinet can sit forever.
Yeah, if I
a
can't see
cutting board, you need to clean that every time you use that.
Yeah, I think in general. I mean, I have even my own personal story from recently where or where I had a furnace go out and I had to clean the inside of the furnace. That would never have happened if the furnace hadn't started to go out.
It's not hard to clean out the inside of a furnace if you have a leaf blower.
Oh, you mean the one that was inside of it?
yes, let's move.
Yeah, you just take
the
the
dirt
leaf
to other
blower
places.
and it blows it all out.
No,
Out the other end from your
at that
vents.
point, you're not using a leaf blower, you're using a shop vac.
Well, no, that sucks air in. That doesn't get
No,
nearly
a
as
shop
much.
vac, you can
Oh,
flip
hit the
switch.
reverse. Yeah. That's one. You could do that.
Well, you can suck everything up and then blow the rest of it out.
right into the carpet.
Now you blow it out all onto the floor and then you get it. It's easier.
Yeah, once it's on the floor, you just flip the switch the other way and you clean it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why shop vac is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I got one of those somewhere.
For a PC though, really, if you set up your computer correctly, you usually don't need to do cleaning on the inside very often if you have positive air pressure coming in. But otherwise, really, it's if you can see the dust on it, you should get rid of it because if it starts throwing your fans off balance or if you're starting to plug your air vents and stuff, PCs, keep an eye on it. But as long as you have more fans pulling in than out, you usually should be fine for quite a while.
How frequently do you have to wash towels? No, not like like a hand towel. So something that you're only putting clean hands on.
I'd say once every week.
It depends on how often it's being used.
So if you don't use it during that week, do you still have to wash it? Or if you only use it once?
No.
It's not dirty by touching. It's dirty by existing.
Dead.
Existence is dirty.
It'll gather dust like anything else. So
Yeah. I would say about a week.
I wouldn't.
something like
No,
that.
I wouldn't say a week for a hand
Right.
towel.
Well, if you're not using it a lot.
a towel you use out of the shower, sure, once a
Yeah.
week. A hand towel, probably once or month, if that.
Okay.
Chat was saying that when dust is a new color, or you can see the grayness of it. So that
Yeah.
actually,
But yeah, when it becomes a
If you have wildfires in the area, then you need to wash things much more frequently.
and actually, in even coated dust, I'm okay with that. But the problem is, as soon as you touch it, now I see a big mark across it, and I need to get rid of it.
No, you just like continue and then write your name in it and be like, awesome, new decoration, and then you move on.
Assholes that writes on back of people's cars in the winter.
Watch me. It's fun.
Okay, so the next question we have here is from Bus Filming Pone. Asks, what is the most expensive restaurant you visited? I actually have the answer to this. A couple of years ago, I went on a work trip to New York, and one of my bosses there, we have a huge budget with that company for eating dinner, and she wanted to spend every dime of it. I think it was $75 per person, and that could include up to 2 alcoholic drinks. And so we went to his white night to a steakhouse, and it wasn't just a normal steakhouse. Like you had to kind of dress in a button shirt. It was super fancy, and I think the steak itself was $50. And I didn't even get the most expensive thing on that menu by far. That was probably like low to mid, and it was in a delicious steak. And we got sides and alcohol and everything. My bill was, I think, over $75. Everybody at the table was. And then the next night we went to an Italian restaurant where the owner walks to everybody's table to introduce himself. Nothing on the menu made sense. I didn't know anything that it said. I had just take a guess, and at least somebody there kind of understood it. Everything on that menu was, I think, the minimum was like $40.
Yeah.
It was all written in Italian then, or
And it was all in Italian. I had no idea what it was saying. And but yeah, the owner comes out to every table and comes around constantly. So it was a really cool atmosphere, delicious food, but I would not buy that myself normally.
I went to Crave recently, and I think my boss took us there for Christmas, and it was like
You think
$100.
they took you there for Christmas?
But no, he did take me. He took us there for the holidays, and anyway, back to the story. It was like $100 a person is what he spent on us.
You bought a lot of booze though, didn't you too?
I bought like 2 or 3 drinks.
Yeah.
yeah, that can add up in a place like.
But like it was super fancy. You had waiters who were like one arm in front, one arm in back, walking around all fancy dressed. I was pretty much dressed as I am now, and I walk
It's a
in there.
button-up
It's
shirt.
the Mall of
It's
America. They
Well,
have
that's
them too.
but that's how rich people are sometimes. They just don't even care.
I
they're too
was
rich.
just happy.
Yeah,
to
they're too
find the
rich to
place.
care.
Like,
Are you too
I
rich to
didn't-
care?
I didn't pay for any of the food, so
Rich people.
That
don't
means
either.
you're rich.
like it was a nice restaurant. I've eaten at much nicer places for far less money. Like, money doesn't always equal nice.
Yeah, you couldn't get chili at Crave. You couldn't get a three-way at Crave.
No. You
Amen.
could ask for it, but they'd remove you from the property.
No, you can get a good, delicious meal for cheaper, but sometimes you can't get this certain type of taste that you're going to get because the ingredients just cost too much.
The nicest view I've ever had, at least within the U.S., was at Joe's Crab Shack in Louisville, Kentucky. So
I went to I think it was called Manny's in Chicago, a great steak place. You couldn't get a good curry there.
That makes sense, I suppose.
But if I was going to say the most expensive, I think it would probably be, I think it's called Fogo de Chao.
Fogo de Chao.
Yeah,
Fogo de Chao.
where it's not that any item is really expensive. It's just that here's meat, here's more meat, here's more meat, and the bill just keeps going higher, and you don't realize it.
We did that we went as a party. It was a group of like 18 people in a private room at Fogo de Chao. And they would walk into our private room, close the door, and then walk around the table.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to know how much that cost. And they did the full dessert rounds and everything. And that place was packed when we walked in. And we got our own private room. So it's
Nice.
expensive.
I think the most expensive place I think I've ever been was it's either Butcher and the Boar or it's Buca de Beppo.
Buco de Beppo, that's a little different because it's
You're getting a lot
family.
of food.
Yeah, you
for
get
it.
a
But it's
ton of food.
It's expensive, but you get a lot of food.
You get like 2 to 3 people worth.
But Butcher and the Boar is definitely one of those places where you go in and you're out of there with like $150 bill.
Yeah. No, but usually you're satisfied and then you look at the bill later and you're like, oh, the memory's not worth it. That's why I'm like, if the company's paying for it, okay.
I always kind of view food as like nice food is nice, but at the end of it, whether you ate like a $100 lobster or 2 packs of ramen, you're gonna be just as full either way. So
Oh, no,
No,
That's not true.
There
But
is
you're
a
not-
difference.
you're not going to remember that day that you had ramen in the afternoon. You don't even remember what you did that
I don't remember what I did 15 minutes ago.
Michael, you can get
because your memory's
full.
awful.
You can get full eating Play-Doh. It's not going to be the same
No.
as eating a steak.
But there is, when you get that,
I'm gonna forget either way.
when you get a great plate
you're
of
going to
food,
forget eating Play-Doh.
Probably.
depends on the flavor of Play-Doh.
Yes. What flavor of Play-Doh?
Cincinnati
is the best?
chili.
There's blue flavor.
I feel like I was one of those kids who probably ate a lot of glue. Once upon a
Probably.
time.
You don't even remember.
I don't remember. That's the point.
He ate so much glue he can't remember.
You'd think that sort of thing would stick with you.
Wait, that's not the one. There.
There we go.
Sensible chuckle.
Sensible choice.
There, that's
there
the one
we go.
I kinda
But
wanted. Silver says you just put glue in her hands, let it dry, and peel it off. Oh,
everybody
used to
did
do
that.
No.
Elmer's glue was
I
the
did
best.
not do that.
No.
Clear Elmer's glue with the glitter in it was the best kind for that.
I do remember, like, in high school, kids would hold down my hand for fun, and I would just let them take a eraser from a pencil and just go at the back of my hand until the skin all peeled away. But that was a different game.
What?
You would let people peel the skin off of your fingers.
No, like the back of my hand. They would just take the eraser until, like,
Yes, peeling the skin off your hand.
Was this a fun activity for everybody?
it
or?
hurt, I guess. But
They're
it
trying.
was...
You had such good friends. They're trying to remove you from existence.
That area did scar for a while. We did it for several days.
that
Well, I
was
mean,
tied
sounds
down.
like torture.
I
But it was
looked down upon you for that sort of thing. But we also played quarters on the school
Oh,
gym
yeah, the
ground as
quarters.
kids.
And
And
it's a horrible,
my
but amazing
knuckles
game.
have never been the same after we started doing that. We did it for months. Every single morning we would play quarters.
I just didn't want to pay attention in home economics, and that's just peeling the skin off my hand.
It was better than home economics.
Seemed like a better use of my time.
Or you're trying to find at what point you were willing to eat another human being in home economics.
Yeah.
When is it justified? Well, I think after the the third quarter.
As soon as he looked at the baby with like the accelerometers in it, he's like, can I put that into a pot and eat it?
Anytime they came around where they're eating the food, they just keep giving it to Michael because he was trying to be plumped up.
Everybody did give me their crackers and mustard because I would just eat crackers and mustards, and the other children would find this fascinating.
If it was crackers and ketchup, I could understand, but
It was mustard.
Crackers.
No.
And I would like crumble up a big bowl of crackers and just put mustard on it and just eat it. And the other kids, because we all got free crackers with like on Chili Day.
You made crackers and mustard cereal.
Yeah.
Did
With
you
no
get
milk.
fed breakfast that day?
Yeah, but the other kids found it interesting, and I was like, "Hey,
I
this
want
is getting me
friends."
attention." So I ate tons of crackers and mustard.
So I'm wondering, which was the preferable form of torture for you? Eating crackers and mustard or having people remove the skin from your hands?
It depended on the day.
That's sad.
It is.
That's sad.
Only in Kentucky.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question here, there's the three main ones that I want to cover because these are like I thought they're really good questions. So Null and Void asks, you have one sentence to convince a 2-year younger Michael that you're from the future. What do you say?
Wait, we have to convince...
We have to convince Michael of 2 years ago that we are from the future.
2 years ago was a rough time for me.
I would say to convince him, 2 years ago would have been just before COVID.
Yeah.
I would say buy real estate.
I think
So you're trying to kick me out?
yeah, I think in general,
Get out.
if like 2 years ago, like Michael,
Delta.
Michael would have believed anything I'd ever said, so it doesn't even matter.
No, I'm not trying to convince him anything. I'm just trying to screw him over. So
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
buy,
Buy real estate. Yeah.
buy Delta.
Ooh, buy Delta. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I do have Delta stock.
Yeah, after the point when it was at its lower end. We're saying
Yeah.
buy it when it's at its high.
Oh no,
Yes.
that's not good. That's,
Yeah, see,
you're trying to convince me you're from the future, not that you're an asshole.
No, I'm trying to screw him over because convincing him is really easy. You just say, "Hey, Michael, I'm from the future," and he'd be like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah, hey, you would totally believe it.
Probably, I'd be like, "Hey, I'm from the future." Just like you just pull out like your like driver's license from the future, and I'd be like, "Oh, neat."
Oh.
And then like,
Yeah.
give me stock tips.
I'm,
And you would lie to me.
I did.
I will lie.
I gave you all the tips.
No.
if I had one
bad
sentence, it
tips.
would be, I'm from the future. You can call me right now, and me in the present will answer you.
That,
That would
that would be a
probably
good
work.
trick.
Okay, well,
But
yeah.
then the world would explode.
Well,
there's no way for you.
This is-
But
I
he
keep your
would
number.
believe you for a split
he would
second.
believe you before the world ended.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know any specific event by date right now. So you would have to choose something that was general to be done at that time.
Well, he wouldn't be able to confirm anything.
like if you just showed up with and there were two Johns, I'd be a little like, "Oh wow."
Nothing phases this man.
I'd be like, we can start a Mario Brothers movie now.
Wait,
That's neat.
which one would be Mario and which one would be Luigi? The older one or the younger one?
Well,
Older one's Luigi.
Because they're both the same height.
it depends.
Yeah,
Older one's
well, in the
Luigi,
original
though.
games. they
No, we
were
can
the
fix
same
that.
Well, we're just
You're
gonna.
gonna remove some of bone.
No, it's CGI or something. God, what are you, a freaking serial killer?
If you're gonna use CGI, why do you need two people?
Yeah, Kyle.
It's just cheaper.
We can just
Yeah.
make it the first Mario Brother movie where they're like the same height. It's fine.
Just one wears green.
Yeah, just one's green Mario essentially.
One's
Okay.
much younger and less fat.
I thought they were like twins or something.
No.
Green Mario just sounds like that was a bad meatball.
That's all Luigi was. This is green Mario.
Oh,
No, he was Luigi. He was always Luigi. That's all he was. He was always Luigi. Never a green Mario.
Believe whatever you like.
So I think we have time for one more, and I'm going to leave this one up to, I'm going to modify this question a little bit. So Flutterkind asks, what is the worst offense or crime you have committed and are willing to talk about?
The Wiz.
The Wiz.
Because there's definitely things that I probably could say, but I don't want to have on camera. so
Trying
yeah,
to think of something that's not horrifically illegal.
it said it doesn't matter if you were caught. I mean, I've ran a couple lights, and I've gotten 2 tickets for overtime for stuff.
I could tell the story of the only time I've been in the back of a cop car.
Oh.
So I went alone to visit my grandparents in Duluth and drove back, and I drove back tired. And driving for 3 hours while you're tired is not a good experience.
Especially on 35 when it's like just straight.
Yeah.
Dead line straight.
And I got into St. Paul, and I took a wrong turn, and then I found construction. And the construction hid where a stoplight was. And I went through that stoplight, and I didn't make it to the other side. This was in my first smart car.
Oh, wait a minute. You didn't make it to the other side, so you went into the
crashed.
construction?
No, I got hit by a car.
Wait, if
Oh, you got hit by a car.
Then I got hit by another car.
wait, you were if you were in a smart car,
Yeah.
and you got hit by another car, first you have to tell us how you were brought back from the dead.
No, they bounce.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
The
whole
other
egg shape.
car had
That-
no damage because they basically banged into plastic, and I bounced off of them, bounced off another car, hit a curb, which took out 2 of my tires, and then I crashed into a concrete planter, which
And then you hit the arm that came up and to throw you in for bonus points.
Yeah, the
There
concrete
should've
plant, the concrete
Yeah.
planter basically flipped over your car.
well, the traffic light that I went through to get to the concrete planter it slowed me enough that I didn't do any lasting damage to the
Planter.
the 2-ton bowl full of dirt. But yeah, cops came. I said, yeah, I ran a red light.
Oh, that's very honest of you.
I want to sit down and have a nap because
I'm tired.
I'm tired.
Yep.
And no other car had damage. My car was totaled.
That's amazing though that no other car because it's like basically like a squeaky toy. You were driving a squeaky
It's
toy.
a go-kart with plastic bumpers on every side.
And I love how even after that, your car gets completely trashed and you get jumped around. You're like, you know what I want? I want to do that again. Let's get another one.
Another one of those guys.
Because the only reason mine was totaled, well, 2 of the wheels were like,
You were hit by 2 cars.
well, those cars didn't do any damage. The only reason I couldn't drive away was because the curb I hit perpendicular to the curb, so they sheared 2 of those 2 wheels off of the car, and going through the stoplight dented the frame, which meant that the next time that I got in an accident, I would die. So yeah, I got a new one because it is really difficult to replace the entire frame of your car.
Especially when it's only 4 feet long.
Yeah, but there's only 3 feet of frame throughout the entire car.
Yeah, but there's only 3 feet of cars. So.
Yeah. So, okay.
It's like the joke that I had when I was working in the machine shop where they said, don't buy a German car. And I said, well, I have one, but if it's any consolation, it's not much of a car.
It's like a shoe.
Yeah. But, yeah.
But yeah, I know for me, technically, I brought up earlier about going to that abandoned asylum. Technically, that was private property, and
Yeah, technically breaking and entering.
and a construction zone. And we didn't break the
you
window.
speeding?
The window was pre-broken.
Okay.
So technically, we entered that without any permission. And then there's definitely, I don't count traffic anything because in normal traffic, I went 5 over the speed limit. No, no, I don't count that stuff. I mean, I've definitely went 20 over at times. Not really anymore, but yeah. And I know I probably have small bits of vandalism, from when I was a lot younger. Some that I remember, some that
probably.
I don't.
I had lots of that.
I did a lot of trespassing as a kid, in my neighbors' yards and all throughout the woods. There was
When you're a
tons
kid,
of area.
you don't think about it.
Kids can't trespass.
When I was a kid, I built a tree house on somebody else's property,
Mm-hmm.
and we were super thrilled with it until the owner, or the people who own that part of the woods, got kind of pissed off that there was only a tree house without a tree house.
in their land.
But when I was a kid, I'd go into abandoned houses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think anything of it. It was just we were just exploring. We were kids.
Can kids trespass? Because I have to think that if they found just
some point, yeah.
a 5-year-old in Fort Knox, they'd just grab him by the shoulder and call their parents.
Give him a gun.
Oh my God! Why would you give the child a gun?
Because he's not trespassing. They got to let him go.
No, you
But
call,
why give him a gun?
Because then he can take the gold.
No, you don't want him to take the gold.
It's the
No,
bag.
yeah.
No, kids can steal. I'm saying they can't trespass.
But
Those
it's
are
not-
two different things.
It's not stealing until he gets the gold, and then he has a way to escape.
Yeah, kids can also shoot someone, and that's still murder.
But I'm not
He's
saying to
holding
shoot
the gold
anybody.
hostage.
He has it. What happens after that's up to him.
you don't enable children.
I like this loophole. Like, okay, Timmy, go up into Fort Knox and grab the big metal bars and bring them back to mommy. It's like, they can't stop you. You're only 5.
There's just
They're
a small
happy.
child dragging like a 25-pound gold bar out the door. It's like, oh,
job,
it's
Timmy.
adorable.
Now I'm gonna imagine every guard just has a lollipop in case they see a kid, because then they can say, "Well, you could have that, or you could have this lollipop, and it's a lot lighter. You don't have to carry that."
That
big-
kid would
That-
drop that gold immediately.
Like,
Yeah.
That kid went through months and months of training with
Yeah.
his mother to just turn down lollipops. Like he's like,
There's an entire underground ring of children thieves that are trained to go into different areas and steal different things in adorable and
yeah, it's
ways.
all
very cute.
it's all just like the Halloween shops, like
Yeah.
ninja outfits.
Yeah.
No, the kids get past all
They have
of
different
the.
costumes
No,
for
the
different
kids-
occupations.
Yeah, they got the little they got the little bags for trick or treating.
Yeah.
I'm imagining the kids get past all of the guards, all of the lollipops, and then they find the final guard who has a Hershey bar, a full-sized
Oh, no.
Hershey bar.
I want to see though. They go all the way through to the guard at the gate for the gold, and they're like trick or treat, and the guy's like, he's like looking around for something. And he looks over at the gold. He's like, damn it! And he just grabs the bar and puts it in the bag.
He's just dragging it.
You just explained to your boss at the end of the day. It's just like, we're missing an entire 25-kilo bar of gold. What happened to that thing?
I gave him $100 grand.
It's like I didn't have any candy. He needed something.
Gotta give him some.
That's why the government has to issue everyone at Fort Knox some form of candy. Yeah, Michael
they
should
can't be
know.
duped.
This is Kentucky.
Yeah, like I drove past Fort Knox once.
And
so
did you
that's-
get candy?
I did not.
Did you stop?
I should have stopped. I should have
Yeah.
gotten some candy.
Yeah.
Should have walked up there right up to the gates of Fort Knox and be like, "Give me candy." I feel like I would have gotten something.
Yes. You walk up to Fort Knox with a
Mainly pepper-
mask
mainly
and a
peppers,
bag.
yeah,
I think
but
that place is surrounded by landmines.
I can see him doing trick or
Maybe.
treat, and he'd be like, "You're 32."
If you're in a highly secured location and you just see a 5-year-old in a costume with a trick or treat bag walk up and be like trick or treat,
It's
like-
definitely
it's
a trap.
it's like do you have a bomb, small child? Like, what is this? Am I being played right now? Like, what's happening?
It's either a trap or you're being the place is haunted, and that's what it is. Creepy shining
Kyle,
children.
if you were in the middle of basic and there was a live fire exercise and then you saw a little kid in a princess costume with a bag, what would you do?
I probably would just try to fall asleep because that would mean sleep deprivation has hit me just hard enough.
Okay, that's a really effective hallucination.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
lay down right now.
That's not my problem.
I'm
Good
gonna
night.
go let somebody know, and then I'm gonna go to bed.
I would think in a live fire training exercise, nothing. But in a real war situation, you would have to make some hard choices. I'm thinking.
Yeah, there's plenty of crazy things that happen in warfare. So
Halloween. No, now I'm just imagining not the Christmas truce, the Halloween truce.
Gotta have candy.
They're just going out of the foxholes dressed as like ghosts and devils and
It must
drag.
in World War II, they visited the German lions dressed up as goblins.
I did a lot
Asking
of
for
trespassing as a kid.
It's called LARPing.
It's called LARPing.
Wait, live fire LARPing.
Yes.
Oh,
Isn't that what you-
so like medieval times they weren't just fighting wars; they were actually just LARPing
Magic
with real weapons.
missile.
Well, does that mean like private militias are just LARPers?
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, actually.
You know, I mean, like
You've got Civil War LARPers. Why not World War III LARPers?
Yeah.
I mean, some of the
World War III LARPing.
some of the military
Really looking
contractors
forward
definitely hire LARPers to go do stuff overseas.
Oh
so.
my God, Frank has the new codes.
He has the football.
He dropped it, and everybody's like, ah. That would be kind of fun, though.
Explosions.
I was thinking of the one thing, though, that illegal that I do actually all the time, and according to the government, is very, very illegal and very bad, and that is copyright infringement. I'm a lot better about it, but there's a lot of content that I have that I have copyrighted songs in there, and somehow or another, like YouTube algorithm never actually caught it.
You wouldn't steal a car.
Yeah, but I do steal money from musicians apparently, but I don't do it anymore. I've stopped that completely. But for many years, most of the time the revenue still goes back to them. But anything that you don't own, if you put a picture of something that somebody else drew in your content, it's technically illegal.
Yeah, but there's also that point where an artist who makes music is there's only so many news services I can sign up to buy your music.
Yeah, I'm just
going to pirate it.
That's a large. Well, I'm talking about
if you keep screwing.
It's one thing to pirate to just consume it, but it's another. I'm talking about utilizing it for your own gain.
Yes,
make money off
exactly,
it.
Yeah. So that's why I've stopped doing that in almost any sense. But you sometimes just can't stop because there's something very small that you didn't even know was even copyrighted. It's kind of like with patents. That happens a lot too, where people get patent lawsuits because they use a technology they didn't even know had a patent on it. It was just something they came up with. It was similar enough, but
I remember when I was a kid, I destroyed a bunch of trees because I was fun. We went
that's the whole story.
No, pretty much.
I did that as a kid, too.
We went
How
out.
did you just destroy them?
We went into these woods belonging to a neighbor nearby. To the trailer park.
Went into the woods.
We went into the woods and we were just walking through these guys' woods and we saw these trees that were kind of smaller than the other trees and had shallow roots. And we were just like, look how strong I am. And we went around looking for these trees and we pushed them all over. Like we just put our whole weight into it and we pushed these trees and we're like, yeah. And we took out like a couple dozen of these trees. And then I go home and suddenly I hear that the guy who owns this land found out about one of the people who were with us. And he's like, you killed all these trees. And we're like, they're your trees?
Someone owns this land?
Somebody owns land?
Yeah.
How's that work?
It's okay to be an affront to God, but not to people.
Like, people don't own land. This is just here.
This is
the
my
woods.
this is my
Property is
garden.
theft.
Yeah.
So,
The young communists of Kentucky.
yeah, I always kind of felt bad about that after the fact because I didn't really think
You're a child.
these trees belong to someone.
Yeah, I have the one time when I was, I think, 5 or 6 years old, where I went out to my neighbor's driveway and cut down one of their tiny the tiny pine trees they had planted, and I brought it back to the front porch, and my parents were like, "Where'd you get that thing?" It's like, I got it over there. And I cut down my neighbor's tree for Christmas.
Adorable vandalism.
Yeah, that one I can't fault myself for because I was so young. But at the same time, that must have been adorable. But also, my parents probably had to pay money to get that Christmas tree.
I did put a glass shard in my neighbor's tire one time because I wanted to see what would happen.
What you mean? You popped their tire with a shard of glass?
I put a shard of glass. I was a little kid. Reminder, I was a child.
I don't know when you stopped being a child.
when he was a
20 years
child.
old, or
He was a child
like
of 21.
9 years old.
so
And
old enough to know better.
Old enough to know better, but not really old enough to really
stop
think
yourself.
about consequences.
Yeah.
And I put a glass shard from a broken glass bottle that I found lying in the street further into the street where I know somebody would run over it. And the person who ran over it happened to be our next door neighbor. So he actually pulled up, ran over the shard, went into his house, and I noticed the shard was gone. So I ran over to his car, and there's just this glass shard sticking out of his tire. I was just like, "Oh no!" And I ran.
Who
back
could have
inside.
thought this would ever happen?
So that was bad.
And so now all that incriminating evidence is over with. So that is everything we have for the podcast today. Thanks for hanging out and watching with us. I know I'd like to end this by showing because we had a lot of drinks here and kind of going over that. So John, you always bring something fancy.
Yeah, I brought a Tom and Jerry mix, which basically is hot eggnog.
Yeah, there's like a Tom and Jerry's batter, and then there was some alcohol and hot water, and
You used bourbon and rum?
I used
What is it?
brandy and rum.
Brandy and rum.
Yeah, so some Lustau de Yarez, some Some Spanish brandy.
Yeah, you hit that accent on the nose.
Lusta Delare.
Where is?
But no, it was very good. It basically was like a little like hot cookie.
It's so sugary.
Yeah, it was very sugary.
Yep.
It was good. I just bought I bought. Well, I did buy. I brought a what is this? Prize Brewing. Prize Brewing. It's PRYES. Prize Brewing.
Lost Moon.
The Lost Moon is just one of their yearlies. I guess kind of like what Surly does. So I just brought that. It was really good.
I just had I think it was Indeed had their Mexican honey was a beer that I like. I had a can of that along with John's thing there.
Oh, we got to talk about what I brought.
Bring out, see what kind of fancy sort of wine you got today.
I got something from the liquor store that was cheap and quick, and I didn't know what it was, but it looked good.
Yeah. Point the label towards the camera.
Arbor Mist, cherry. It's got alcohol in it, and it's super sweet, so I'll drink it.
Yeah,
that is the choice drink of college girls across the world.
it is juicy juice with alcohol.
Not just college girls, high school girls.
Yeah, even earlier.
Oh boy,
Children.
But anyways, thanks for
children know what good things are.
Yes, children, they know the good booze.
but thanks for hanging out. We'll be back again in a couple weeks. So, Michael, what is your final word?
Drink Ovaltine.